You will not leave this place alive, traitor.
No, you misunderstand. I am no traitor. For I cannot betray those I never truly loved.
It was the only glitch I could find in the entire game, but I just couldn't resist starting the video with it. It's Assassin's Creed Revelations for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and the PC. The game, to say the least, pleasantly surprised me. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it at all, and I was expecting the whole experience to be a pretty long crawl through the main single-player campaign. This was mainly because I had played through Assassin's Creed 2 and I loved it, and then I played through Brotherhood and wasn't impressed, and upon starting this, I was also very unimpressed. But I'm pretty sure that was because I had played through the other games a little too quickly for my own good, and had moved on to the third consecutive game starring the main protagonist. After taking quite a little while of a sabbatical from the Assassin's Creed series, I finally decided to come back and review this title, and like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. Assassin's Creed Revelations looks great, it runs great, the climbing mechanics are outstanding, and as you see before you, they've actually added a hook blade feature into this game, which allows you to jump upward more easily while you're climbing and grab onto surfaces. It makes it a lot easier to scale things than it was in the past, although I would not recommend playing this game immediately after Brotherhood. Definitely take a break. It's almost the same exact gameplay mechanics as in Brotherhood, and it really feels like an expansion of that game. Despite the hook blade being new and a couple other new things that I'll get to in a bit, a lot of the experience is actually the same as Brotherhood. The individual assassin missions are back, allowing you to actually go out and recruit assassins, which are basically just citizens in distress that you save. The Borgia towers are back as well, although now they're not under the control of the Borgia, obviously, because it's in a slightly later setting. But basically, instead of burning the Borgia towers like you did before, you instead go up, ignite a smoke cloud, and the assassins take that den. Another returning game mechanic is the ability to buy and upgrade buildings, which increases your income over time. I don't really think this system is as interesting as it was in Assassin's Creed 2, where you actually had a main homestead that you would upgrade and that got a lot cooler as you went on. You do have a homestead in this game, but it just isn't as impressive as it was in Assassin's Creed 2. That being said, if you do play this game, you're definitely going to want to upgrade these buildings, because this is one of the main ways you're going to make your money throughout the game. Every 20 minutes, there's a certain sum actually dropped into a bank in the game, which you then have to go and withdraw. If you haven't upgraded any of these buildings, you're going to get way less money every 20 minutes than if you actually did go out and do this side activity. So even though it's an optional side activity, you're going to want to complete at least some of these just to get enough money to buy things like simple ammunition, poison, medicine, and different items you'll need throughout the main game. If you're here looking for some new features though that weren't in Brotherhood, one of them is the den defense game. However, it's a feature that I would rather avoid than actually play. It's kind of a hassle. It was really ambitious and it was a different type of mode than we've seen in Assassin's Creed before this point, but in my opinion it just didn't really work out. Basically, you sit above everyone else as Ezio on the roof, and you install barricades and you install different types of assassins at those barricades and along rooftops to try to defend your den. Your den is the tower at the very end that you took from the Borgia. Well, okay, not the Borgia, the Ottomans in this game, which they will actually try to come and take back from you at certain points in the game, unless you have a master assassin stationed at one of these, which takes a long time to do anyway. But basically, you're defending your tower. The problem is that further enough along in the den defense game, a chariot will come along that basically has a flamethrower attached to the top of it, which one-shots all of your barricades no matter what health they're at. You can see me upgrading the barricades here, but eventually it doesn't even matter. You can have a barricade at full health, the maximum level, and it'll just get completely destroyed by this chariot. And despite sitting as Ezio and just shooting it repeatedly with your wrist gun, which is all you can do other than plant assassins, and hitting it with a cannon fire volley, which does help somewhat, but doesn't really damage it enough, you're not going to beat it. There is a specific strategy you can use to beat the chariot when it comes, but you have to look it up online basically, or get really lucky and be able to just defeat it yourself, which is, in my opinion, almost impossible. Basically, I think it was much easier to just let the Templars or the Ottomans or whoever's attacking your base actually just come in and take it, and then all you'd have to do is go back into the den, kill the actual Templar captain, and then just ignite the tower again, and it's yours instantly. You can do it in like 3 minutes versus sitting here for 10 minutes just to have a chariot blow up your tower at the very end. An actually useful addition to this game mechanically is the bomb system. The bomb system allows you to take different miscellaneous items like the ones you've been collecting in all the Assassin's Creed games and usually just selling because they're garbage, and actually take those to use them to create another item, basically like synthesizing in Kingdom Hearts, but even simpler than that. So what you're doing is you're taking those items, you pick a type of shell, a type of powder, and another item, and you create a bomb. So what I just made was a coin diversion bomb, and now these are actually kind of fun to use. You can throw them at a group of enemies, and then if you pick a fight with them, the mob of civilians will actually come and aid you in fighting the enemies. They will turn on the enemies with you and will attack them. They'll hold them down, making it easier for you to attack and kill them. But this isn't the only type of bomb. There's quite a few other bombs. There's lethal, tactical, and diversion bombs, this being a diversion bomb. And it's actually a fun little thing to mess around with. There's only maybe 1 or 2 missions in the entire game where you have to use a bomb, and that's because they're teaching you about the system. Other than that, it's really all up to you. However, what's not optional at all is sliding down ropes with the hook blade. That's something that's mandatory if you own this game. If you own Assassin's Creed Revelations and you're not sliding down things with the hook blade, you're playing the game wrong. The funny thing is, as great of a character as Ezio is, my favorite parts of the game are the parts where you get to play as Altaïr, the lead protagonist in Assassin's Creed 1. And although I've included really nothing in this review that will spoil that story for anyone, Assassin's Creed 1, I will say that it's an amazing game that you really need to check out. These sequences are my favorite in Revelations.
Memory sequence archived. Warning. Memory leak detected. Recalibrating Animus idle parameters.
This is where we also hit another new feature to the game, the Desmond Sequences. These follow Desmond's journey, which is taking place in his mind and recounts a lot of events that happened in his life before the games originally started. And maybe a lot of people aren't a big fan of Desmond, but I really enjoy him. I thought he was a good character. I still think he's a good character. And I think that his story progression in this game was pretty well done. They recap a lot of events and things you don't know about him from before the first game, so I found it pretty interesting.
Some days the city's a vampire. It steals all your best moments. They come and go in seconds and fade away. You end up remembering only the worst.
I really also thought that these puzzles were well constructed that Ubisoft did in these portions. They are all optional, you really don't have to do any of them. But I found them all to be quite a bit of fun, actually. They're interesting, they go through Desmond's inner dialogue, they talk about his past and what he was feeling before and after becoming an assassin. And besides all that, they're actually fun and interesting puzzles that captured my attention, and they were another favorite of mine in this game. If you were a fan of the Assassin's Creed multiplayer introduced in Brotherhood, then you're going to be quite happy with this game, because it's actually back again, and it's about the same as it was in that game, with some new maps and some new characters. To be perfectly honest though, I was never really a fan of the multiplayer in this series, at least when I played it in Brotherhood. It's not bad by any means, and it runs completely fine. It's actually really interesting. I just never really thought that it belonged in Assassin's Creed. However, you get points for stylized kills or stealth kills, and it does promote stealth gameplay. There are a couple different modes to this game. I didn't spend a lot of time playing it, I mainly just played it to get a couple of the achievements in it and to review it for this segment. But the one you saw before was one where it gives you a target and you have to stealthily hunt them down and kill them. This one is one where you actually play as a team, and the entire team is hiding from the enemy team who's hunting you. What you want to do is remain hidden with your team and blend in with surrounding NPCs. But if someone swoops in and kills one of your teammates, you're going to want to stun them and run away, although I managed to run into a crowd. There's easy access to the rooftops, but you're going to be a pretty easy target up there as well, because obviously NPCs don't just climb walls randomly in the multiplayer. There are even special timed perks that you can get for each character as you level up, like the one this enemy just used to blend in and look like a different NPC, so strategy is encouraged. That being said, I personally still find the single-player component to this game to be the best part about it, and I think at its core, Assassin's Creed really is a single-player game.
Men who make a fetish out of murder deserve no pity.
The last feature that I wanted to talk about in this game is a returning one from Brotherhood. It's the Mediterranean defense game, and although this takes place in a slightly different time setting and region, you are sending out these assassins that you recruited earlier through the assassin missions, and you're sending them on missions in which they will gain XP and influence and money for you throughout the region. And you can actually customize these assassins afterward, and they will appear in battle with you the same way you customize them. So is Assassin's Creed Revelations worth playing? I'm going to show you the positives and negatives that I found with this game and let you decide for yourselves after I tell you what my opinion is. So for the positives, we have the fact that it has excellent visuals, improved climbing mechanics, a populated world, side content, the ability to customize your assassins, Desmond's past, and Altair's life after Assassin's Creed 1. The negatives that I found while playing through the game were the fact that it was a drawn-out story. Ezio begins to feel a little stale after 3 games. Out-of-place multiplayer achievements and trophies if you're a completionist, and it feels really like an improved version of Brotherhood.
Let me see what I can do. I know a few ways to bend the rules.
Do you now?
See, I will meet you back at your shop.
In closing, here's my opinion on the game. It's actually a lot of fun. I didn't expect to like it, and I found myself wanting to come back and play it over time. I thought it was a very interesting game, and it followed Altair's story, and it did give a little insight into Desmond's past. That being said, it really does feel like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood 2, and my recommendation actually hinges on whether or not you played that game. If you played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, my recommendation is to skip this game because it feels a lot like that game. Even though it is a much more interesting story, you'll probably be a little tired of Ezio by that point. But if you haven't played Brotherhood, I would say just play 2 and then jump to this game. It's not hard to understand what happened, maybe just watch a cutscene or 2 from Brotherhood. It did almost nothing to advance the real-world plot, and the story elements of both Ezio and Altair are much more interesting in this game than Ezio's solo story was in Brotherhood, which really was not much of anything in my opinion. Also, if you're a diehard of the Assassin's Creed series, you really do need to play this. It wraps up a lot of story elements, especially with Altair, and explains quite a bit. And I would say that this game did not get the credit it deserved when it launched, because people were getting a little tired of the same setting and the same protagonist, and they just didn't give it the credit the game really really did earn. Ezio's much more charming and wise than he was in Brotherhood in this game, and it actually feels like his character developed quite a bit between 2 and this. The parts of the story where you play as either Altaïr or Desmond help keep things really fresh, and if you enjoyed the previous Assassin's Creed games, you're really going to enjoy this as well. This has been John with my review of Assassin's Creed Revelations. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun making it. Please feel free to like the video if you enjoyed what you saw, comment, let me know what you think about Assassin's Creed and the direction the series is going along with this game, and subscribe to Console Degenerates for more free content. Thanks guys, we really appreciate your support. Have a happy new year, we love you guys.